Hello guys, today I'm going to be walking you through the second part, or another part, of me and my little cookie clicker game. Um, if you don't know what cookie clicker is, it's basically you click the screen, get cookies, buy some stuff, get more cookies. But anyway, the cycle goes on and on and on. If you honestly have no idea what cookie clicker is, then yeah, you're sort of screwed in the head. Let's get rid of that. Anyway, today I'm gonna go through what I did to get where I was with my cookie clicker. This is the game as it is right now. It's pretty basic. In total, probably took me 2 or maybe no, at most around 5 hours. I don't know. I haven't really timed it. I'm not that. Yeah, I like play when I want to. Anyway, first thing I'm gonna show you, just because it amazed me how better it looks. This is without an overlay on it, and this is with an overlay on it. Now, if we look at the one that I've just clicked, you can see the overlay, and you can see where I've sort of put it. But yeah, all I did was search noise overlay texture, went into GIMP. Well, I made this was the original one, and then I was like, that looks way too plain, so I just found it, and yeah, there it is. Ultimately, if I wanted to, I could probably make it slightly lighter. Yeah, I think that looks nicer, so I'm gonna export, and then as you can see, not yet, it needs to be reloaded. Go into thing, Control B. Third one I've made are these. As you can see, we have 3 different shades. And that one doesn't look lighter, that one looks darker. Anyway, yeah, so that's just where I was going to start off. So, if you haven't seen my previous video, it goes over all of these, and it went over what I had done with this. In the previous version, basically you would click, and then this right here, this little what do you call this, CPS, it would go up, and then the cookies wouldn't go up, and then every second all the CPS would be added to the cookies. But now it's better. I've made it better. I don't know if it's the optimal way of doing it. If I spam, I wonder if I can get up to 10. I got a 9 there, but anyway, continuing. So yeah, I got all the way up to probably building. Building is where we need to start off. With this, it used to be current CPS, and then everything would be added to the current CPS, and then every second, all the current CPS would be added to the amount of cookies that we had. So I've changed it so there's an individual one for building and an individual one for mouse. In fact, mouse it just adds it straight away, and then this is for the CPS. So every millisecond it will count up your clicks and add them to this, and then all of these zeros, which would be changed to like ones and stuff, will be added together, and then there's your CPS, plus of course the building CPS. So yeah, these are all numbered 1 to 0 because I couldn't be bothered actually, like, yeah, I couldn't be bothered making a list. This was just easier for me. Anyway, then we have self.cps, which is in total the total amount of CPS, which starts at 0 because yeah, we haven't made any cookies. Now we have send event. This is pretty much exactly the same as before, besides for these two lines. Basically, when the mouse button goes up, when you like unclick a mouse button, cookies will get added. It's usually 1 because I haven't made anything to change the multiply factor, but it will just add that. And then self.mouse CPS, it will add the last update, which is 10. Here is basically the average date time. So if you count all these, this will be number 20, which is millisecond. So it will get the millisecond, and then it will add the self.amounts clickers.multiply, which is usually 1, as I said before. Anyway, long story short, it does stuff. Then we have update, and this is completely different from before. I don't even remember how before was. Timmy Rumi is just a random name, and the reason why I have this here was because I was doing a bug fix where it would add the CPS, and it ended up being done here. I added the CPS instead of building CPS. But I wonder how you spell that. Accumulating. Oops. Yeah, it's become better this way. Anyway, the reason why we have a try here is because, as I said before, this is the date time sort of, not API, that's what I'm looking for. It's the way that it's laid out, format. It's date time format as a string, and this is the millisecond, and if all of these are 0, basically date time is intelligent and it gets rid of them for you, which is stupid, because if you're doing something where you have to count the milliseconds, then it's annoying, because now there's a 20th index right there. We can index to 20, and now we can't. So yeah, it's just annoying. So we have to basically copy and paste all this information. But meh, who gives a shit? It's not gonna kill us. And basically, Timmy Rumi is what the millisecond is right now. If it's the same as the last time it ran this, it will not do all this. But if it is different, if it has gone to the next millisecond, it will go through it. So it goes through all of the buildings, all of the like things that can automate your process, and it adds them to the building CPS, which, by the way, after every update is set to 0. Then yeah, it adds it, but divides it by 10 because there's 10 milliseconds in a second, from what I know. That's what I've heard before. And a CPS, if you don't know the things in here, a CPS is basically amount times cookie per second times multiply. So it's all of them. It's like how much that building gets a second. Yeah. So it adds all the buildings together, and now we have adding all the mouse things, all of these, adds all them up. And then when it adds all of them up, it adds it to CPS. And then we add the building CPS, but we times it by 10 because we divide it by 10 here. That's 10th of what we get to second, and then that's what we get a second. And it adds everything up. So self.cookies plus equals self.building CPS. It adds the build, like how much the buildings gave them to the cookies, and we don't have to worry about doing that with the mouse because we add them directly here. Then last update equals Timmy Rumi, which is when this loop was ran. Then mouse CPS, the last update equals 0. So this new millisecond equals 0, or the one that we just passed equals 0. and then self.building CPS equals 0 as well. And then this is exactly the same, but as I was saying before, with the millisecond gone, we like obviously know that it's 0, so we just replace Timmy Remy with 0. Anyway, how many is basically for later. I'll talk about that soon. So cookie ASDF and still image ASDF. The reason why I called it ASDF is because it's visual based and because I couldn't think of anything else calling it. If I called it like visual cookie and visual still image, it's sort of annoying because then when I get down here and I actually have to like make a variable, it's like, well, I can't do visual background and visual cookie. I called the main down here and I just realized that then, but like, yeah, it's just something that I can remember as well. ASDF is very funny cartoons you watch. Anyway, so basically these, I don't know if you could call them sprites because they aren't using any sprite class, but yeah, they're visual representations of what's going on. So cookie ASDF only gets used once, but just for the sake of it, we put it into a module. We call pass the X, the Y, and the checked path or clicked path. Clicked path is basically where we go to check if it has been clicked or hasn't. In this case, we can check how many. So we go down here. Where is it? If self.clicked, well, here it is. So self.clicked equals self.click path because we set self.click path to clicked path. Clicked. So if we pass through clicked in what, then we return self.clicking. The reason why we can do this is because when we go down here, as you can see, we don't put brackets at the end of this. Like we have a bracket at the end, but that's just to correspond with this one down here. But we don't put brackets in at the end, so it recognizes this as a function, not as something that the function returns. So that's how we do that. It's very confusing at first, but if you watch this over around 20 times, you'll understand how that works. Anyway, so basically self.baseImage equals Pygame. What we should do first here is just call self.update. Just because, yeah, we can. Anyway, so base image, the reason why we have a base image here instead of just calling it straight as render. By the way, our page thing up here, it has to have render in it. Like this little thing has to have self.render because that is a surface. As you can see here, it calls self.baseImage, which is loading a surface. Anyway, this surface is cookie1, which is this image right, if my computer wants to load, this image right here. And the reason why I have self.d and self.e instead of self.x and self.y is because they are the center points. They are the origin points, I could say, that the actual image is. And then here is where we actually place them. So anyway, clicked path equals clicked path. We went through that before. Self.clicked equals false because it initializes without being clicked. And self.scale equals 20. Self.scale is very weird. I don't know why I have it, but anyway. Something I'm gonna do here, just to clean up my code, because I really don't need it. Let's just get rid of this stupid stuff. I need that bracket right there. Get rid of this, because we don't need self.scale, it's just stupid. I will later when I'm animating it, but right now it's just up and down, up and down. So now, I'm pretty sure that should run perfectly fine. Yeah, it does. Anyway, so basically, clicked equals false, and then we update. So update basically checks again if it's been clicked, and then it will render. So render the base image, we apply render to base image, and then if clicked equals true, we grab the the scaled down version by 20 because this is a 400 by 400 image. Yeah, I don't really care if for some reason someone decides to try and retexture this program and puts in an 800 by 800 and then suddenly is like, oh crap, how do I like fix it? I don't really care. Anyway, self.x, this is where we actually have the thing because the page handler and the actual pages require these. It gets the origin point and it takes away half of the width and half of the height. So if we run the program once again, as you can see, this cookie is very centered, and when we click it, you can see that like this doesn't stay there, it sort of goes down and to the right. That's because the origin point is set directly in the middle, and it takes half of it off, so it goes left and then up. Anyway, if you've done any sort of simple programming with Pygame, you should know that, or any program for that matter. Then we have still image ASTF. This is basically what it says, a still image, and ASTF meaning visual. So this is the background. Without this, we would not have a background here, and it would be very annoying because then we couldn't see the border of our little cookie here. Background I made really simply in thing. Like I've got these two colors, and then I used the gradient tool and did a little gradient down. Then I used the dodge tool and I burnt it down here on the edges to give it a little hollow, well, not hollow, but halo effect. So as you can see, it's slightly haloed, but I like it. So anyway, continuing. Now we haven't changed much down here, besides for we've added the two main visuals, and yeah, that's pretty much it. With the with this cookie class, because it has no visual, it's all updated in itself, so all this doesn't need to be changed. For that matter, yeah, we have this down here. I don't need it now, but soon when I do animating, like animating the shop to come out and stuff like that, I will need that, because it means that our program will be timed properly, and it won't, sometimes it won't like go really fast, and other times it will just go slowly. It doesn't really matter if sometimes it's slower than others, but yeah, it's just smooth still. If you've got a really crappy machine, then yeah, it will be really stupid and not very nice. But it means that we have slight latency when it comes to, like, it's ever so small, like normal humans won't be able to even sense it. But yeah, by the way, if you haven't already noticed, all these chocolate chips on this cookie are exactly the same thing, just rotated. It's exactly what I did. But yeah, in fact, you can see where I put the origins of the little curved parts. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's all we have to talk about. Yeah, and then we just I add the background before I add everything else, because the background needs to be before everything else is like used. And of course, cookie control is before everything, because cookie control really does all the processing. We don't want to render all these and then cookie control updates and it's like one tick behind. It will just be annoying. So yeah, that's why you put all of your like code, all of your processing before you do your renders, just in case you didn't know. But yeah, anyway, once again, just going over the cookie. All I did, I started with this one down here. I got this little, what do you call this, paths tool, and I just made what resembled somewhat of a chocolate chip, and then I got the circle and I went circled around it, but evenly. Then Control C, copy, Control P, Control V, paste. Moved it somewhere with M, pressing M, then moved it, and Shift R, rotated it random somewhere. Anyway, then I put on the filter, and now it looks nice. Doesn't look like a 2-year-old made it. Anyway, and if you're wondering how I put on the filter and perfectly got rid, it's like a perfect circle, perfectly got rid of the outside what you do, right? You click on your background, then you right click, then you go select by color, and then you click on that, and as you can see, it's very small, but you can sort of see the lines. It selects only the alpha color because it is one color, and then you go to this one and it's still selected, and then you can erase it. But anyway, lots I went through. I don't know how long this video is. Does it say down here somewhere? 20 minutes. Anyway, thank you for watching. You didn't need to watch this. This is basically just for me. I only wanted to do it for me. It's so then when I'm 30 years old and I'm going for a job, I can go for a job and I won't get bullied by work. I don't know what I'm on about. But anyway, thanks for watching. Leave it a like if you liked it and you want other people to know how to do stuff like this. Oh, I love OBS. If you didn't like it because it wasn't your thing, don't even worry. You don't have to view it anymore. Just don't look at this video. Forget the Jaylord ever existed. But anyway, I'm gonna go now. And I'm probably gonna work on this some more while it uploads to YouTube. So bye bye.